You know that feeling, right? You start a new habit, you're full of energy, you're totally on fire, and then a few weeks later, life happens, and it just fizzles out. Well, you're not alone. And the reason this keeps happening? It's probably not what you think. Let's get into why being consistent is so darn hard and how to fix it without just trying to find more willpower. Okay, let's just start right here because this quote, this is the whole game. We're always told to just be more disciplined, to have more self-control. But here's the secret. Top performers aren't white-knuckling their way through life. They've built smart systems that make the right choice the easy choice. And this is that painful cycle that so many of us are trapped in. You start a new workout plan, feels amazing for a week. Then a huge project lands on your desk, and suddenly you've missed 3 days. And that little voice in your head starts up, right? You failed. You're lazy. You just don't have what it takes. But what if that voice is completely wrong? To really get this, we have to look at what's actually going on in our heads when the pressure is on. See, this isn't a moral failing. It's not about character. It's a predictable neurological response to stress. Your brain is literally designed to do this. So check this out. Your brain has 2 different operating systems. When you're calm, your prefrontal cortex, think of it as the thoughtful CEO of your brain, is in charge. It makes conscious, smart choices. But being the CEO takes a ton of energy. So when stress hits, your brain's #1 priority is to save energy. It immediately hands control over to the basal ganglia, which is like the automatic factory floor. It doesn't think, it just runs its oldest, most ingrained habits. And look at this. This shows just how big that change is. When you're under stress, the functional capacity of your brain's CEO, the part you need to maintain a new habit, just plummets. Your brain literally doesn't have the juice to stick with anything that isn't already second nature. And as if that wasn't enough, there's another really powerful force at play. Your brain is on a constant, relentless quest for dopamine. Now, we usually think of dopamine as the little prize we get at the end, right? The good job chemical. But that's not the whole story. It's actually the fuel that drives the action in the first place. And a big, distant goal like lose 20 pounds doesn't give you that steady drip of dopamine you need to get through the daily grind. So what happens when you combine a stressed-out brain running on autopilot with a brain that's starving for a dopamine hit? Well, you get this list. You get overwhelmed, distracted by shiny new things, and you fall right into that all-or-nothing trap. These aren't personal weaknesses, you see. They are the completely predictable results of a brain under strain. So if just trying harder isn't the answer, what is? We have to upgrade our system. And the most powerful place to start, it isn't with what you do. It's with who you believe you are. James Clear has this incredible model for behavior change. Most of us try to change from the outside in. We start with the outcome, what we want to get. But the change that really, truly sticks, it happens when you start from the inside out, at the deepest layer, your identity. Here's exactly what that looks like. I want to lose 20 pounds is an outcome. It has a finish line. But I am the type of person who is active. That's an identity. And every single action you take, no matter how small, becomes a vote for that identity, making it stronger and stronger. And the process is actually beautifully simple. First, you just decide, who do you want to be? And then you prove it to yourself. You start collecting evidence with these tiny, almost laughably small wins. These little wins are everything. All right, so you've got your new identity. That's your North Star. Now for the second upgrade. We need to build the actual scaffolding around that identity. We need to design a system that makes being that person the path of least resistance. The key tool here is something called an implementation intention. Now, that sounds super academic, but trust me, it's dead simple. It's just an if-then plan. You are basically pre-programming your brain to connect a specific trigger with a specific action, so you don't have to make a decision in the moment. And the difference here is night and day. Look, I will meditate more is a wish. It's a hope. But if it is 7 a.m., then I will meditate for 1 minute. That's not a wish. That's a command. It's a preloaded instruction for your brain. You're taking your unreliable, moody self out of the decision-making process. Okay, you've got your identity, you've got your if-then plans, but what happens when life throws a wrench in everything, when your whole schedule gets blown up? This brings us to our third, and maybe the most important, upgrade. You have to design for the messiness of real life. This right here, this is the ultimate killer of consistency.
That little voice that says, well, if I can't do my full 30-minute workout, I might as well do nothing. We demand perfection from ourselves, and because that's impossible, we end up choosing failure instead.
So here's the solution. You create different versions of your habits. You've got your ideal version, that's for the good days. Then you have a minimum version for when you're tired or busy. And this is the magic part. You have a symbolic version for the days you are just barely hanging on. And this is absolutely crucial. The point of the symbolic version, just putting on your workout clothes, isn't to make progress. The point is to not break the chain. You are still showing up. You are still casting a vote for your identity as a person who works out. And that makes it 1,000 times easier to get back on track tomorrow.
And this all fits into a bigger toolkit for being resilient, You break things down into tiny tasks, you find ways to reward yourself for just doing the work, you're kind to yourself when you slip up, and you design your environment to make the good stuff easy and the bad stuff hard.
In the end, it all comes back to this one idea. Stop trying to fight your brain with sheer willpower. It's a battle you're going to lose. Instead, become a designer. Build a smart, flexible system that works with your brain's natural tendencies, not against them. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What if every time you failed to be consistent, it wasn't a judgment on your character or your willpower at all? What if it was just a bug report? It's not a failure, it's just data, telling you exactly where your system needs its next upgrade.